Hello! I have so many things going on this weekend and it's gonna be a ton of fun, so I thought I'd bring you guys with me. It is Friday, I just got home from work, I'm in Brady's car, him and Ren will be here in a second, and we're gonna take Ren to the vet. My plans for tonight, I'm not 100% sure yet. I might be hanging out with a friend, or Brady and I might watch Mockingjay Part 2. And then tomorrow, we're going to a used bookstore, and I'm so excited, the pictures look awesome. And then we're going to a concert tomorrow night. I'm not sure what else is going on during the day. And then Sunday, we're meeting a friend for coffee, and then we're gonna go to a jazz brunch, which I'm pretty excited for. We're having friends over Sunday night. So a lot going on, and then a lot of like unplanned things that will probably come up. A little reading update. I just finished Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Jeez, my goodness.
Ren.
Hi, Ren! So we're going to a bar that has live music because tonight they have a Billy Joel cover band. So that'll be interesting, fun. Love Billy Joel. Fun fact, saw Billy Joel at what's the one in Long Island? The UBS Arena in Long Island on New Year's Eve. Not this past year, like going into 2024. So technically 2023. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good morning, it's Saturday morning. Last night we went to a Billy Joel cover band at one of the bars that has like live music all the time, and so we went there last night. It ended up being really fun. The band was like, some of their songs they were good, and some of the songs like you could tell it was a bunch of old men doing a cover band. Anyway, just took a shower and I want to try this new like hairspray. Not hairspray, but like spray for my hair that I got. I don't know how to pronounce that. OUAI, but it's a wave spray, and I've been trying to try new product for my hair, so I switched from the Cantu like shampoo conditioner to the Not Your Mother, and I really liked that, but I still use all the Cantu like mousse and curling cream and all that stuff, so I want to try something different, and a wave spray sounds kind of awesome, but I know that my hair needs to be very wet, so I barely dried it. Spray from root to tip and scrunch in sections for easy, and then I have an old t-shirt to scrunch my hair with. So, never used this before. Spraying things in the root always like makes me nervous because like what if it makes my hair greasy? Okay, we're gonna call it a scrunch. Okay, already my hair is curlier. Okay, so this is it wet, and we'll see what it looks like when it dries. But I have some pretty high hopes. This looks, specifically this side, looks pretty good. Bookstore and I had the time of my life. I'll go through all the books that I got later when we get home because I think there's gonna be traffic and we have the concert tonight. I'm very excited for every single one of these books. We're only in there for an hour and a half. It's crazy, and also they kind of split up the sections weird. Like it was mystery and fiction together, but they counted like romance as fiction. So it was like, oh, is this book gonna be someone getting murdered or
started that early. We just went to bed really late. We're going to a jazz brunch. I don't know what one wears to a jazz brunch. I know what I wore to this jazz club when we went, but that was like a nighttime thing, and this feels different.
I put my contacts in, so now I can actually like see. And so I'm gonna do my makeup quick. I literally never do makeup this many days in a row. I'm so tired. I like need the like confidence boost. The concert was actually so much fun, except we got there like 10 minutes before and we were like 3 people back. We were like 3 people behind like the barricade, which was so sick. And then like halfway through the opening act, these 2 girls pushed their way in front of us, and one of them was like literally over 6 feet. Like, she was as tall as Brady, and Brady's like 6'2" or something like that. They pushed their way through, and they were like talking about how cutthroat it is. And I'm like, this is not that deep. This is the dip. The least cutthroat concert ever. Then like a couple minutes before the actual show starts, like before the dip comes on stage, this bridal party pushes their way through. It was a bridal party of like 10 women. They pushed their way through and they're like, God, here comes the bride, here comes the bride. And they're shoving their way in front of us. And they were so drunk already. And then throughout like the entirety of the concert, they were just like talking and like yelling, but like not like cheering for the artist. They were just like yelling, and they were like hardcore thirsting over the main singer, which was just like not the vibe. They were just so annoying. Like, I had to switch places with Brady because I was standing next to them because I could see better over there, but I had to switch places with him because they were being so obnoxious. Like, I could hear them over the singing, which is just like actually ridiculous. So then near the end of the concert, this other guy who had also pushed his way to the front, he was so drunk, and he was a big dude. He was like 6'4". I don't even know. He was tall and like 300 pounds, but like of like muscle. Like, he was a big guy. He was also very, very drunk and was like dancing, but like all over the place. And he was minding his business for the most part, but he kept elbowing this guy's wife. And so they almost got in a fight at the end of the show. Like, they started pushing each other and yelling at each other. And then like both of like the people that they were with like chilled them out. But then when like the show ended, the guy who like the drunk guy like went up to the other guy and was like, oh my god, he's gonna just like punch him in the face. But then he gave him a hug, so that was like kind of weird, but glad that they made up. It was awesome to see the Dip. I have wanted to see them for 7 years is what I figured out when we were standing there waiting. It's been 7 years and the band has only been around for 10. Hop on that train, please. Ren is trying to destroy his alligator right here. So if you hear shredding, tearing, Velcro, it's his alligator. I never went through all the books that I got yesterday at the bookstore. The place was huge. The couple videos that I took there, it just didn't even do justice how crazy this bookstore was. It's bigger than any Barnes & Noble that I've ever been to. It was crazy. And I ended up with 10 books. Yeah, so kind of a lot. Most of them were like $6 to $8. There was 2 that were $15, but then the rest of them were pretty cheap because they're all like used books. So the first one I got is Curse Breakers by Madeline Nakamura. The cover is just so interesting, and I feel like this is different than like anything that I normally read, at least like just based by the cover. It is about Adrian, who is a magic professor at the school, and someone is putting all the people at the school into like magically induced comas, and so he has to figure out how to like break the curse. There seems to be like something with like the military and the school, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but the last line on the back of the book says he must survive his own bipolar disorder, his self-destructive tendencies, and his entanglement with a man who doesn't love him back. So I think he'll be a very interesting narrator, and so I was intrigued by this. This was actually the first book that I picked up, I think. That might be a lie. It was one of the first. This next one is called No Way Home by Jodie Feldman. Basically, it sounds like it's this girl, it's like exchange program is going on, so one girl from the US is staying in Italy with this family, and then the girl from Italy is staying with the other girl's family in the US. It sounds like it's going great for the girl in Italy, but like her host family doesn't speak any English, so she's kind of like having to get by with a huge language barrier. And then one day she wakes up and the host family speaks perfect English, and on FaceTime is their daughter, so the Italian girl who's staying in the US, is on FaceTime and she's like holding a knife to the US girl's family. The host family says, "You do everything we say or they will die," referring to her parents, and they've taken like her passport, her credit cards, her phone, and she has to commit a bunch of like high risk crimes to save her family, and she's like trying to figure out like why they're doing this. Next up, we have a book by Leslie Wolfe, The Surgeon. I read If I Go Missing by Leslie Wolfe. It was the one with like the If I Go Missing binders and like a bunch of plots that like I wasn't sure how they were gonna connect. And I really liked that book. I got this one, and on the front it says trusted surgeon, loving wife, murderer. And the back doesn't give like too much. Basically, the surgeon like has like the ideal life, like a beautiful house, the perfect job, a great husband. She has to call time of death on someone, and it's like this huge deal, but she knows the person, and then she says, "But what choice did I have once I recognized him?" So I think that's interesting. I feel like the obvious answer is her husband, but I don't think it'll be the obvious answer, just knowing how Leslie Wolfe writes. And then I got another Leslie Wolfe book, The Angel Creek Girls. It says it's the Detective K. Sharp book 3, but I think it's like one of those series where it's like, oh, these handful of books have Detective K. Sharp, so they're a series, but like it doesn't matter how you read them. At least I'm hoping, because I got the 3rd book, so if it is a series, I'm gonna have to read the first 2. It starts off like as like 9 hours ago, this woman opens the door and then is murdered. Present time, the detective is on the scene, and the mother is murdered. Her 3-year-old daughter is just like laying there next to her. I think the other girl she's 8-year-old, and she's just sitting there crying, but then the 16-year-old is gone, missing. And the detective also sees that like they had their suitcases packed, so they were ready to go, they were leaving, running from something is the insinuation. The 8-year-old won't speak, and the 3-year-old will only say a monster came. And then it also says stuff about the detective's past, so I don't know if that will be where it's like important to read the other books, or if it's not important, or if we just learn. I don't know. So I need to search. I need to like Google to see if I need to read the other 2 books first. This book is a bit different than what I normally read. It's The Husbands by Chandler Baker. She's like a super successful attorney, but she also has to do all of like the household chores and stuff, and so she's getting really tired. She said her husband works hard, but why does it seem like she is always working so much harder? And then they go house hunting in this like suburban neighborhood, and all of the women have like high power like job. They work hard at work, but then all of the men take on like what would be like considered the traditional female roles in a marriage. So like the men are like cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, whatever. Also reminded me reading the back of Don't Worry Darling a bit, but like reverse. So I thought that would be interesting. I also thought the cover was cool. I think the cover, like the picture like behind the flame, I think is what reminds me of Don't Worry Darling. Then I got The Other Guest by Helen Cooper. It is about a woman whose niece died at a lake in Italy. She drowned, but it's ruled an accident, but it's like not really, like, is it an accident? But it was ruled an accident, and so she's going back to this lake that her niece died in, like, it doesn't say how many years later, but years later, and I think she's trying to, like, uncover what actually happened. And then the other POV is this girl who just had her heart broken, who meets a bartender in England, and he goes back to her house, but then, like, he's not who he says he is. That's all it gives. It doesn't say how they're gonna connect even a little bit. I imagine the guy will be the connection, but, like, maybe that's not it. So I just was so curious how those 2 storylines could even remotely relate, because one of them seems like a typical, like, murder mystery storyline, and the other kind of seems like a romance storyline, so we shall see. Ren brought me his alligator. Next I got Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is the book club book for Soph Moscow's Fable book club. I talked about this in my last video when I was going over what I want to read in the month of April. It was cheaper to buy the physical book at that store than it was to buy the book on either Kindle or buy it new. So we shall see. Hopefully I like it and it doesn't scare me too much. Next I got Love Mom by Ileana Zander. This book is about, the mom is famous. There's a sticker on the back of the book, so I can't see what she's famous for. I think she's an author, but she's murdered. Does it say she's murdered? Oh, she dies in an accident. The question is, like, if it's really an accident. I'm assuming it's not, or else there wouldn't really be a book. As the daughter's going to attend the funeral, she gets an envelope, and it's signed from #1 fan XOXO, and then inside this envelope is pages of the mom's note, like, diary, and the start of it is, want to know a secret, love mom. She keeps getting more and more like envelopes with pages of diary, so she's trying to like piece together like the secret, what happened to her mom, and then it ends with the book saying sometimes fame is worth a murder or worse. Soon Mackenzie will come to find out that there are worse things than murder. So I'm really curious as to what happened to the mom. Okay, I have 2 more. I got The Retreat by Sarah Pierce. This book, they go to an island that like used to be known for the serial murders that happened there for like some retreat. The island, once the playground of a serial killer, is rumored to be cursed. Like, why would you ever go there, let alone for a wellness retreat? Like, that just seems crazy to me. That's not where I would pick. Someone turns up dead, but turns out that that person like wasn't even supposed to be on the island. They're not part of the retreat. Then I think somebody else dies and they're trying to escape. So it kind of sounds like murder escape room type thing, but it's an island, not a room. So they're trying to figure out what happens before like history repeats itself and there's another serial killer, but there definitely is another serial killer, and my guess is it's the same person. The last book that I got is Zodiac Academy, the first book, The Awakening. I'm very excited to read this book. I don't fully know what the Zodiac Academy is about, but I like watch people's reviews and like heard bits and pieces enough to know that I want to read it. I want to give it a shot. But this book is so expensive everywhere, and it was like pretty cheap comparatively at the bookstore. So I'm pretty excited about this. They had all of them, but I didn't want to buy everything until like I knew that I liked this first one, because like it's a good sized book, and like the book itself is big compared to like some of the other ones. Like, it just is so much bigger. We shall see. In other news, we went to the jazz brunch this morning. It was actually a lot of fun. We grabbed coffee first, went to the jazz brunch, and then we just like sat there. We drank mimosas and listened to the jazz and like caught up with our friend, and it was a lot of fun. And now we need to clean the apartment, and then we have friends coming over in 3 hours. So we're gonna clean, do some laundry. I'm gonna try to edit a bit, I haven't done that in a while, and maybe read some more. I'm taking a while to get through Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I just like am not, I don't know, I flew through the first 3 Hunger Games books, but they're also a lot shorter, and I feel like a lot faster to get through. I saw the movie, so like I know the storyline, and I'm reading it because I want to see all the details that like the movie missed. I'm not super invested, and I really just want to read Sunrise on the Reaping, which is what is getting me through this. I might try to read a bit more today. I haven't had as much time to read. Like, this week was crazy.